Do them. Do it.
Whatever you want to do, EG. We are live. EG can't decide if she wants to go sunglasses or not. NBC 13 doing their pre-show meetings over to our left. Like they're going to break news out here about IndyCar. Are you doing weather and news out here?
Yeah.
Wow. Do
Hey,
we have any
it's windy and perfect.
Yeah, that's easy. Do we have any breaking news? Any breaking news? Just in case anything breaks?
Yeah.
Probably a homicide.
I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I'm sure. We're going to get one of those today.
House fire.
Or homicide, one of the two. Or, by the way, EG says 459 shut down. You may want to say share that with them, Brittany.
It was.
Yeah.
According to Apple Maps.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, I go this out where we are. Do you guys go the back way?
Yeah, I go the back way every
119?
time. Yeah.
Yeah, so easy.
I go the back way.
Let's get caught behind a biker.
Well, that happens sometimes, EG. You just you gotta work through that. Gotta work through it.
Yeah.
We are live at the Barber Motorsports Park. It is the Medical Properties Trust presents the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix, powered by AmFirst. How about me doing that without notes? I got the whole title without notes. That's a tough one. That's a long name for a race.
Really good.
That is a long name for a race. We're at Barber Motorsports Park. You get out here, IndyAlabama.com. Get tickets all weekend long. EG's first trips. EG's doing the race circuit here in the state of Alabama.
So what do you think? I mean, we love both of them. They're both very different, right? I mean, Talladega and Indy. Both one's a road course, one's not. A lot of campers here, not as many campers as you have in Talladega, but it's a different vibe each way. That's why I love it so much. A lot of places you would be bothered that they would be so close together, like racing back-to-back weekends, but they're so different.
Apples and oranges.
It is apples and oranges.
We had Gene Holman on, who puts everything together, and I forgot how many different states he said that people were buying tickets.
I think he said 35. Lance.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So I mean, I guess there's a little bit of that with Talladega too, but it literally is apples to oranges.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. But as you go around the property here, Mr. Barber, as Gene said on our show the other day, donated this land, built it, and then donated it to the city of Birmingham. But there's amazing artwork all over. Like there's big spiders, like big. What are their statues?
Sculptures, statues. Lady in the water.
Lady in the water.
Oh, interesting.
You passed that on the way in.
No, she came in the back. So if you go out, EG, instead of turning left at the bottom of the hill, if you'll go right and go that way back around, you'll see the Lady in the water.
Oh, that's cool.
Lady in the water. So very European feel.
Very. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting very European summer.
Oh yeah, I'll get you to follow us out,
okay.
and we'll take you the back way, and you'll save a lot of time.
Yeah.
They were moving too, the cars. I was like, holy cow. I
mean,
Dega, you can tell, but they're all in like that clump, so it's harder to
pack.
Clumps.
It's your first races, Jim.
NASCAR.com.
Did you never go to a race in Atlanta, like Atlanta Motor Speedway? You never went?
We did the Porsche experience for Father's Day one year.
Yeah.
At Road Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
Yep. And then, at the Porsche Center. Is that out also Road Atlanta?
Oh, I don't know.
No idea.
Here, the Porsche Center is part of this track.
I think there might be separate. And we went through. Was Herbie fully loaded like back in the day? I think there was an event there that we went to.
I used to love Herbie.
Lindsay Lohan pre-map.
I loved some Herbie back in the day.
I think there was like an event there that my dad took us to. But my racing is very slim. But in the last 2 weeks, guys, I feel like I'm really immersing myself.
Yeah, I mean, I believe you're in now.
Yeah.
Herbie was different when I was younger. Herbie beat the Nazis in one of his movies earlier. I'm so old. Herbie beat the Nazis.
We need to take you out to a dirt track next.
Yeah, Talladega.
Okay.
We can take her to the short track, right? In Talladega, they still race out there?
No, but they do it really the night before the race at Talladega. So.
Isn't it like in Maylene or something, a dirt track?
I don't know, Lance.
There's some big drag racing at Still on the way up to Gadsden.
I could get that in Atlanta, I think.
Okay.
Saturday night on 75.
Go to the right spot.
Yeah, y'all got Tokyo Drift in Atlanta.
Tokyo Drift.
It's all stolen cars.
Yeah. IndyAlabama.com. It's like Grand Theft Auto meets Tokyo Drift. That's IndyAlabama.com. IndyAlabama.com to get tickets this weekend. They were close to a sellout. Now, they could pack a ton of people in here, but parking will be the issue. They don't have unlimited parking. So if you want to make sure you got a spot, IndyAlabama.com. Hunter is complimenting Lance's dunks. He says those are clean, LT.
Oh, thank you, Hunter.
The
I
old
appreciate it.
Rams dunks.
Yeah, I've just gotten in a Rambo the last couple of days just for drafts, so
Why not?
I haven't shaken that yet.
My phone case and my Yeti cup matched you yesterday.
I
It's been a
know, and
lot.
I saw that little T had her nails painted
Oh yeah.
kind of a royal ram blue.
Huh, look
So,
at that.
yeah.
So everybody's supporting you,
Yeah,
huh?
I guess so.
I got
Yeah.
this hat on for you because of Jared Burst
Nice.
today. I threw that out for you.
It's very Chargers, but I've kind of tried to double it up for Rams.
Yeah. Are y'all like, I mean, Lance, you got Yacht Rock tonight.
Yep.
So you really, I mean, you'll keep up with it on your phone, right? Who the Rams pick?
Yeah, that's the plan right now. I'm going to try to get our buddy Michael Sellers at Avondale to put that on.
There we go. I knew
Well,
this.
the last time I was there, I kind of took the TVs over, and I think
Yeah,
the bartenders hated me.
That was the Masters, right?
Yeah, but I mean, what else would they have to battle with tonight? I mean, it's NBA playoffs.
Yep.
Or the draft.
That's it. Or the
I mean,
Braves.
that's pretty, yeah, the Braves.
I mean, just a little Guardians, Braves, two best record in baseball. Best record in the American
Nothing
League.
major.
Best record in the National League.
How surprised are you? You're not surprised by the Braves there, but what about the Guardians? How surprised
I drafted them. You know, we do
Did
that. Yeah, there's 8 of us in baseball league, or no, 6 of us. We draft 4 teams
Is that
each.
the one with Reed? That's
Yeah.
in it? He
Yeah.
has the Braves.
He does have the Braves.
Yeah.
I've got the Orioles. I got the
Good
Guardians
insight.
next to last, by the way.
Next to last, you got the Guardians, huh?
Yeah, next to last on my picks because I did Orioles. Not that anybody cares. I did Orioles.
Doesn't ask us anything. I just ask you.
And then I had the Brewers. Then I went with the Guardians, and then I closed it out with the Diamondbacks.
Nice.
And my only team under 500 right now is the D-backs, 12 and 14.
That's surprising.
They got to get their shit together.
I'm sure they will. Braves are
World
playing really
Series
good, though.
last year,
I
they
know.
Yep.
completely
No, I mean,
fallen off.
it was a heck of a pick, really,
Yeah.
for your last pick. A team that was in the World Series the year before.
I think everybody knew it was kind of a
Yeah,
maybe
kind
a
of a
one-off.
one-off deal.
One-off.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
when does your baseball podcast start?
We are planning for May 1st.
Now, what are we calling this?
The Pennant Grace.
Why the Pennant Grace?
The Pennant Race, but Emily
Oh,
Grace.
I thought you said a G. Oh,
Yeah.
Grace.
Yeah, Grace.
Oh,
Emily
that
Grace.
just occurred to
I
me.
know.
I thought it was going to be like Christian based, and it was
well,
going to be
I
like
mean-
where baseball at Christ meet.
We could do
Yeah.
that.
So it was Pennant Grace.
Pennant Grace.
Who's
because,
doing it with you?
I think. Well, there's some plans in the
Yeah,
motion.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I can confirm nor deny anything yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
But
May
there
1st
will
is
be
next.
a co-host.
Yeah,
May 1st is next week.
next week.
Well, let
Yeah.
me know if it's me because
Oh, okay.
not-
Well,
Yeah.
only when the Dodgers come to town.
Only yeah,
So-
I'll have so. Right now, I want to bring in Forrester.
Yeah,
and
big White
Reed.
Sox guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's barely baseball, but it is
you,
the White Sox.
Dodgers, and get a more holistic MLB. But the primary focus will be the Braves.
Yeah.
There is a possibility of a guy that rhymes with
Push.
Jipper Cones.
Oh, what? No. I wish Chipper would love to have
If you could interview one Brave, current or past, who would it be?
All right, I have 2. So one is sentimental and very odd. Brandon Beachy.
That
Wow.
is both odd
Odd.
and I assume sentimental.
Okay, so
All right, give me
when
the reason.
I was younger, when the Braves were at Turner Field, my dad and my mom, they would take us to all these games. And there was a stretch when he would be in the outfield during batting practice. And like that summer, we just got to like know him.
Yeah.
And I would yell, Brandon, instead of like Beachy, like with like all the little like middle school boys down there. I was
Right.
in elementary school, and he would always throw me a ball every time.
But EG, I got to be honest with you. If you had said Brandon Beachy, put him into context, I would have never said former Atlanta Brave.
I saw someone.
But that is, I mean, that is cool. That's
Yeah.
why, I mean, that's just part of being a kid.
I mean, that is something that's
Yeah.
so random, but I think that my love for the Atlanta Braves started at a young age, and he is someone that's such a one-off. But I remember that so vividly, like, be like, I can't wait to go see Brandon Beachy. And
Like how old were you?
I was probably in 4th grade, third
Yeah.
or 4th grade.
So 9 or
Then he
10.
played for the Dodgers.
That is a good time.
when
Yeah,
I was,
so if you would have said Rick Mailer because you used
Oh,
to
yeah.
babysit his granddaughter, I would be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
He was on a list with Brandon Beachy about like underrated players recently that I saw.
Oh, Rick Mailer was really good.
Yeah.
Not a good-looking guy.
no, he wasn't. He was the best looking
Is
fella.
he the guy that hit a home run as a pinch hitter?
That was Rick Kemp
Rick Camp.
on the July.
Yeah, what was
Fourth
that?
game?
What was the inning?
Wasn't that against the Dodgers?
Wasn't it like 17th inning?
I thought it was against the Giants.
Could have
but-
been, but so EG, it was the July the 4th game, so they're doing fireworks
year?
after the game. Oh God, this is in the 80s,
Okay.
and it goes like 17-8. How is it crazy to say 21 innings?
Don't think it went
Yeah,
21.
it was deep teens though.
Deep teens, and goes to like 3. I think they may have had a rain delay mixed in,
Interesting.
so it goes to like,
People are hanging out because they want to see the fireworks.
yeah,
right.
and it goes like 3 in the morning, and everybody's out of players, so they have to pinch hit Rick Kemp, who's a starting pitcher.
Wow.
for the Braves, and he hits the game-winning homer
Wow.
They either
at
had to
3
let
in the morning.
They either had to let the pitcher hit, that was
Like
their
Max
pitcher,
Fried.
or Camp, who I think was going to pitch the next day. The only guy they had not used.
I've
yet.
got it right here.
All right, go.
July 4th, 1985, the Atlanta Braves played the New York Mets.
The Mets, we were way
in a
off.
game that lasted nearly 10 hours. One of the greatest,
Wow.
strangest, longest games in baseball history happened in Atlanta.
Does that have
and they
innings?
call it the legendary Rick Camp game. Yeah,
Yep.
I will tell you right now, it is
1985.
85, yep.
That's when my dad.
You're asking him, Mark, if he was there.
Asking Mark.
So here's what happened there, EG, as they get to the end of the game and they shoot the fireworks. I mean,
Oh.
like we've bought the fireworks, we're shooting the daggone fireworks 3 in the morning.
18.
Noise
It was
coordinate.
3:30 a.m. Mets had scored. The Braves had 2 outs. The next batter to the plate was pitcher Rick Camp,
Wow.
bottom of the 18th. And it was when, guess who was on the call?
Skip Carey.
John Sterling.
Was he
John
really?
Sterling, how about that?
Yep.
So EG, they shoot the fireworks off, and I think like Atlanta police, I mean, like their
Thought that-
switchboard shut down.
Oh,
Everybody's like,
no.
"Oh my God, it's 3 in the morning." It's like we're in Fallujah. But yeah, that was a pretty wild game. I remember that as a
Because
kid.
that was old Fulton County.
Old
State.
Fulton County.
So
yeah.
who's your second one? So,
So
Brandon
Brandon
Beachy.
Beachy. I know that's so weird, but I would love
Can you
to-
not track him down to be part of your
Probably could.
podcast?
I might try and
Yeah.
just see like what he's
Here,
up to these days.
have you even tried? Have you even
I-
looked?
Change the name of the podcast.
I,
Beachy and EG. EG and Beachy.
Sitting on the beach. I love the beach. No,
Stop-
I looked
stop
at his
your
LinkedIn.
beaching.
What?
I looked at his LinkedIn, and he said, "You turned me up, Brown."
I did.
It says that he's like in real estate in Nashville, I think.
Well, then he should be easy to find.
Yeah.
Tell him you want to buy a house in Nashville. No, I'm just kidding. I want you to be on my podcast.
He's got plenty of money if he's
If he's selling real estate in Nashville, that ain't bad.
But current player, oh my gosh, all of them.
I say current or former. They don't have to be a current.
Well,
were you
but
upset
I
when
said
Dansby
two.
Swanson left?
Yes and no. I mean, I think all the girls love Dansby, like me included in high school. He was a cutie. But I mean, it made sense, and I don't miss him. I mean, Dansby, you're awesome. Like, and he knows one of my good friends. She was his athletic trainer, and so when I was in high
Freddie
school,
Freeman a bigger deal when he left?
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Freddie was horrible, but Dansby was like, "All right, go play for the Cubs." Like, and then he kind of
But,
said,
but I mean, we try to tell it. We try to soften the blow that just because the A's are so irrelevant, that Matt Olson's a really good player.
Matt Olson is so good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, that
we got a
was-
younger Freddie Freeman.
At least last year, that was an even trade.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little too early to tell this year, I would say. I mean,
It's
still
been
a lot of
great,
the season
great
left.
for Freddie just for the simple fact that he's got so many bats around him. But obviously, Olson does too.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think Freddie.
The Braves didn't lose anything in that trade last year.
No.
That trade off. I know it wasn't actually a trade. That was a free agent move, but
It was sad though when Freddie.
Yeah, it was
left.
just one of those guys that you want to see
You want to, and what the sad
conclude
part
his
was
career.
is that it seemed like he wanted to do that, and I don't know the ins and outs of what the agent situation was, but Dansby was okay with going to Chicago. That's where his wife's soccer team they're out of. Like, it made more sense. Whereas Freddie, it seemed like even though he does have family there, that he wanted to stay in Atlanta.
I'll never forget my lasting memory of Dansby Swanson is years ago. We used to do our show from the SEC baseball tournament,
Yeah.
and he was playing at Vanderbilt.
Vandy,
And
uh-huh.
I swear he was a freshman or sophomore. Like, he had not been there long.
Yeah, it was early on in his
And
career.
we saw his name up on the scoreboard. We were just dying. We were like, that is the most Vanderbilt name ever.
Dansby
Dansby
Swanson.
Swanson.
So he's
And then we start
from-
making jokes about,
Boy, I bet he got bullied early.
oh, I
on.
know. We started making jokes, EG, like, everybody will be getting their stock tips from Dansby Swanson. And of course, then he goes on to play in the majors.
Right. He they're from Marietta, Kennesaw area. His mom's a teacher. So when I was a senior in high school, we could paint our parking spots for
Oh, yeah.
the start of the tradition. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. And for some reason, I don't really know why I did this. I decided to make my parking spot like his brand that they had that year. Like, I
Right.
just painted like the logo because it was cool. And he actually, like, I put on my story, and then my friend that knew him sent it to him. And it was like the coolest, like, starstruck moment because he put on his story, and it was like my parking spot.
Oh,
that's
wow.
That
cool.
whole combo. Yeah.
Look at you.
So
I
as,
know.
as big of a fan as you are, just for the starving Atlanta fan base, would you give up a World Series this year if the Falcons could win a Super Bowl?
No.
You're
No.
Braves and Braves alone,
Great. I mean, I love the Falcons. Well, I would say I love them. My mom loves the Falcons.
right?
Well, so I'm saying for her fandom.
Yeah, I
I've
mean,
never
she
seen
would
one.
she would do the Braves.
Really?
Yeah. Especially this year because all the discussion in the offseason was like it's World Series or bust. So especially this year, I want another World Series
Who
because
are
this team is so good. What are you going to say, Dunaway?
Who are you listening to? Dodgers radio? It's World Series of bus for the Braves.
Dodgers radio.
Hey, I
I mean,
did.
Dodgers. The Dodgers are the team to beat.
So as of 2 days ago, and the Dodgers were 4 games over 500. If you played $100 on every Dodger game, 4 games over,
Yeah.
I think 25 games into the season, close to it, you're down $1,000.
Wow.
Just because they're such heavy favorites, and,
Yeah.
and like you have to literally go like 3-1 in a 4-game series to break even virtually.
Yeah. And they're still just over 4 games over 500.
4
right
games
now?
over 500, you're down $1,000
You know
on like
what's
$100 bet.
Yeah.
Interesting is how quickly the Shohei stuff has poofed away.
Oh,
It
yeah.
really has. I mean, when that guy went away and basically took the fall, it was done.
I mean, they've
Gone.
got the criminal.
Well,
So should the
Oh,
investigation
Dunaway.
continue?
I guarantee you, if he's just a fringe Pacific Rim guy,
right?
he's probably suspended out of the league. I don't know.
I
Like
don't
if
know.
he's a 200 hitter,
Well, yeah, they're just not doing a deep dive on the
No.
best player in
Yeah.
the world.
especially when they're trying to grow the game in Asia.
Right.
You
They
know,
had independent counsel look at it.
well, that's exactly what you do. That is the first play. Like, we've hired an independent counsel.
Yeah.
I told you the guy that got dicked over on that was the bookmaker. Like, he's just
Yeah.
trying to run
Yeah, he's
his
out of money.
illegal operation. And-
Just honest work.
Just trying to make a dishonest living here in the U.S.
But imagine, he probably has had a book for years and years, and he's built this thing up, and he's probably got celebrities all over the place because of the amount he's taking.
Not anymore.
And then that
Nope.
gets completely crushed because of
one guy's
guy.
greed.
My favorite was the text that Ippy got saying, "I'm looking at Shohei walking his dog."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do I need to go tell him?
that was great.
I was
Yeah.
like,
Should I walk
oh
up
my
to him and say
goodness.
why you hadn't paid me my money
What
yet?
is happening?
That's kind of a stalker text, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
yeah,
a bit.
that's
Yeah.
freaky.
All right, so we are live at Barber Motorsports Park. It is the Medical Properties Trust presents the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix of Alabama, powered by AmFirst. IndyAlabama.com for tickets, IndyAlabama.com. Just a great venue out here if you want to do something with the family this weekend. The weather should be great for it, IndyAlabama.com. But parking is a premium, so you want to make sure you get on board now. Parking is a premium.
And upgrade on the website and buy some upgraded parking. if
That's
you
right.
can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, get on property here. NH3425 says, EG, you're too young. You don't know the Falcons team. From Chris Chandler, Jamal Anderson, Keith Brooking, Jesse Tuggle, Cornelius Bennett, and Tim Dwight.
That's the Dirty Birds.
The
right?
old Dirty Birds.
Yeah, when
Super
Dan
Bowl.
Reeves did the terrible dance, I still cannot believe that team made a Super Bowl. I know they were 14-2. They were really good, but
Yep.
Minnesota was so much better.
And
That's a
Kalen DeBoer.
miskick.
Yeah,
That's a
Kalen
miskick.
DeBoer talked to us about it. He was at that game the other day, Kalen DeBoer. So that was the NFC Championship game, EG. You've probably seen the video, haven't you?
I'm
It's
sure.
at the Metrodome against the Vikings.
He was like 27-27.
It was it Morton? It wasn't Morton Anderson.
Gary Anderson.
Gary Anderson. Yeah, Gary Anderson had not missed a field goal all year. Game winner, he
Oh,
misses.
gosh.
And it was only like 46
The Atlanta
yards.
curse.
Oh, I didn't think it was that far, was it?
I think it was. It was like mid-40s, but I mean, it was one of those that it was done.
And then
Automatic.
the Falcons go to the Super Bowl to play the Broncos. Was it the night before the game that Eugene Robinson got popped for
Yeah.
soliciting a prostitute?
Yeah, and he was the
Oh my
NFL's Man of the
gosh.
Year.
Yep. Yeah, night before the game got
Talk
popped.
about a fall.
Got popped for
Golly.
soliciting a prostitute.
Everybody's got their
I
vice,
mean,
EG.
yeah, not for me to judge, but maybe better timing.
Well, night before the game,
Yeah,
you know. I
that's-
mean,
He's trying to loosen up for the big game.
We've had some interesting night before the game. Who was
Barrett
the-
Robbins is the most. Wasn't
that
that his name?
Yeah, he went to Tijuana. I think
Yeah,
it was
disappeared.
Tijuana.
Yeah.
The starting center for the Oakland Raiders went nuts and ended up going to Tijuana. The game was
And
in
went
San
missing?
Diego.
Yeah, he was missing for a period of time.
Oh, I thought you said like never recover.
No.
No.
He came back.
That helped
They helped the Bucks.
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win their
Nice.
first Super
And,
Bowl.
and then it was, I don't want to say it was Stanley Wilson. It might have been. It was somebody for the Bengals or the 49ers in that first Super Bowl that got completely coked out.
Oh, no.
The one in Miami.
I think it was Detroit.
Was it Detroit?
Yeah,
Oh
like
yeah. Their
82.
first one was at the Silverdome.
Yeah.
And then they played at what at the time was Joe Robbie
Yeah, you would just think people wouldn't go wild the night before the
before.
biggest game
of
in
their life.
Yeah.
Night after, sure, go have fun.
Oh yeah. I mean,
But,
win or
like,
lose, go
night
tear it up.
of.
But night before, you would like to think they're in the hotel.
Just like to think.
I mean, Barrett Robbins was in Tijuana and Eugene Robinson was out patrolling. That's sad though. Like Eugene Robinson, when you say that name, that's the only thing I could think of.
I know.
And he had a
He
pretty
was
good career.
good,
He was a good
yeah.
player. And Barrett Robbins was a center, so he didn't really pay attention to
But
him.
he was good
Well,
Yeah.
notice when
until he
went
wasn't.
missing. Yeah. Tijuana. I feel like nothing good happens in Tijuana.
Yeah, I never
Uh,
went. We were going. They called it TJ out on the West Coast. Do you ever go to TJ? Tijuana?
Oh, Maddie says no.
No.
So when I was out there for a minute, you know, my buddy Keith Ginner, he was like, "We've got to make a run to TJ tonight." And I was
Tonight?
like,
Just
"Yeah."
for the evening?
Well, so from LA, I think it was like 3 hours, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 hours, and so it'd be like making a run to the. I mean, Dunaway was going to go to Floribama for the mullet toss tomorrow.
Are you gonna go?
I'm not going now because, as I said on the show, I slipped
I
out
apologize.
that I was
So-
asked to judge the bikini contest, and Maggie was going to ride along with me. When I told her that, she was like,
That was a no-go.
"We're not
Oh.
going to the Floribama."
Was it the optics, or was she afraid that you were going to run off with a girl with 7 bruises on her right leg?
Obviously, with my new weight training I have going on.
Oh, it's probably that tat.
Yeah.
She's like, if they see
Oh.
the tat,
Oh,
Yeah.
bad boy. I
Game
like
over.
the bad
I could
boys.
put a
Live
Band-Aid
long.
on it. Could
Yeah.
put a Band-Aid on
Yeah.
it, cover it up, be fine.
The best would be when Dunaway shows up to judge the bikini contest and they're reading his bio. Jim's wife is a pastor in Birmingham.
That'd go viral somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
at their church, probably. Asbury on Sunday.
everybody would be like, they're scoring. This judge has 8, 8, 7. I'd be like 4. Not really that
Oh,
impressed.
I would be.
You're
5.
You're all God's creation to
No,
me.
literally.
No, I'd have been like the art. I really thought it would be better.
You remember we had a coworker that was in that contest?
Yeah,
coworker?
yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah. And
Maybe
she was
for
on
the
the front of
finals.
AL.com with like
No.
this post. Oh, yeah.
She didn't tell anybody she was doing it, and then it shows up on AO.com, and
Did she win?
No,
I do not believe
That's
so.
so
No,
She was in the
humbling.
finals.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know, Jim.
I mean, wow.
She didn't get her photo in front of the board that's got next round stickers all over it. I'll say that.
She did not.
Interesting.
There's always 3 proud in front of that one.
Yeah.
I really liked her. I thought she was like a sister to us. Or so
She liked to smoke those heaters, didn't she?
Or so I was told one time by
Yeah.
the general manager.
Yeah, that's a story there, EG. You ought to hear that one. Yeah.
Can we tell it now, or is that?
Probably not.
Um,
Nah, not
Nah.
now.
it was.
One day when we're sitting around the keg.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we'll tell you.
Okay.
yeah, that was a story there. Duck's dad says, "Have any of you ridden a motorcycle? Driven a
No.
motorcycle, not ridden,
Oh,
driven a motorcycle?
I
Yeah.
got a 3-hour credit at the University of Montevallo.
A motorcycle?
Motorcycle safety.
Oh,
have-
you did. My God, is that a 400 level?
Yes. I had to learn all the safety features, had to watch a few videos, and then I had to do a 30-minute ride, 15 minutes out, 15 minutes back on America's highways, and then I had to do a 1-hour ride, 30 minutes out,
That's-
30 minutes back.
That's kind of nerve-wracking.
So the school had a
And
motorcycle.
Dunaway squeezed the guy so hard he was on the back with.
Yeah. Oh, well, you rode on it. You didn't
No,
drive
no,
it.
you had to
I'm
drive
kidding.
it.
So
You had
you
to
drove
drive
it an hour
Yeah,
by
yeah.
yourself.
He was
So-
in one of those
so
White
sidecars.
knuckling the whole way.
Here's all I remember
Okay.
from that class.
But well,
is-
real quick, did the school own the motorcycle?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the school owned it.
It was-
They owned a fleet of motorcycles.
Well, you know what?
We
That
did it as a
infomercial,
class.
1-800 something cars for
Yeah,
kids.
Cars for Kids.
Donate
Yeah.
your car
That they
today.
probably have one of those for
Yeah.
motorcycles.
I was like the freaking law tigers. Let me tell you, I was. This is the only thing I remember from the class is like Brown. If I'm the leader, I would be up here on this
Uh-huh.
side of the lane. Then
Yep.
Brown would be here. Then EG would be here, and LT would be here. We'd try to take up the space like we were
Yeah.
a semi
Right.
instead of
Nice.
just a motorcycle.
Fill the hole.
We'd be like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Like
that,
the
would, that would
movies?
take up. That's the only thing I remember.
What a
and
gang.
We needed to ride in sequence.
Did you have an outfit? that you wore?
Nope.
I cannot believe that's a college class.
That day it was just jeans, a long sleeve Pike T-shirt,
And a hat. And a
You're a
helmet,
Pike?
right? It's a
I was
helmet
a
law.
Pike, yeah,
I didn't
I
know.
am a Pike.
Do you have the frat tat?
I don't have a frat tat,
Wow.
but
But he's willing.
He's willing. It's not too late. Membership
Uh,
for life.
Do
So
you,
I
do you
used to
just-
have a.
Reed was a
I've
bike,
told this
right?
before. I had the little Yamaha 125 scooter when I was 14 or 15, but up until I could drive because I was all over the place. So I begged and begged and begged and finally got one of those because nobody wanted to take me anywhere. And so I drove it everywhere.
Yeah.
Like from Old Forest Brook, I drove it to the Galleria on 65. And I did everything in my power to get it going 65, and people are honking at me. I remember I actually went and picked up a pair of Air Force Ones from
Wow.
the old Just for Feet out there and put them in. I had a little compartment in the back.
Why don't you just take back roads? Why would you not just take back roads?
optics.
Dunaway.
Do you know Lance?
Yeah.
I laid that thing down about 4 or 5 times. So I'm lucky I'm alive.
My good friend Richard Bunt is now the mayor of Raglan. Now, that's not a phrase of, I mean, he's actually the elected mayor of Raglan. And he's got farmland in Raglan. And we used to go to his house out on the farm and we'd grill out and just hang out. He had a lake out there you could fish. It was just something to do in the summer, right? And he had a motorcycle and that he just left out there and they'd ride it all along the farmland. And I've never ridden one. And he's like, I think you can do it. Just get on there and barely hit the throttle. Well, I must have hit it too hard, and that thing came out from under me. Well, I let it go, and it just shot off. And then it laid there, and the wheel is still spinning around.
Well, the problem is people that have never ridden
stuck.
them, because I had a buddy that was borrowing one of ours. They'll lay down on it, and they will forget to let go.
Oh,
and like I've seen people get drugged behind until they finally let it go.
Yeah, it's out of habit.
I let it go, and it took off. Ooh. And I mean, it was an old motorcycle, so he didn't care. He was laughing about it more than anything.
Interesting.
That's the only time I've ever tried.
You remember there used to be my ex-father-in-law, Julian, great dude.
Yep.
But he used to be in one of these Saturday, Sundays motorcycle clubs, and they would put
cruise around,
all leather on. All of them had Harleys. Yeah, and there was like 40 of them, and they would go like bar to bar and have beers and drive. And it was the loudest. It was louder than what we have out here, like on 280. People going to Hogan's.
I hate it.
Yeah.
My dad would race motocross and enduro when I was a kid.
Wow.
Like we would go.
Mine too. I guarantee they knew each other.
Yeah, we would go to events and in backwoods South. In the South, in the woods, and camp in tents like that, and all weekend he would go racing, come back all muddy and lubed up a little bit.
Yeah,
he'd jump in the creek, wash off.
Boy, the different things
grilling
that we are. The kids are so different from the old man, right?
Jump in the creek and rinse off. Would your grandmother give him? Oh, was that your dad?
That was my dad.
Would your mom give him a bar of soap when he jumped in the creek?
Sometimes.
Sometimes
soap. There was showers. I bet I got a picture of Dad in his old motorcycle.
Rod said he took the same course as you at Montevallo.
Oh my gosh.
The motorcycle?
Yeah, and he said one girl flipped over the handlebars.
Was I in that class?
I did that on a
Oh, y'all remember Kelly Hunter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. No, I mean, I know y'all know who she is.
But we just saw her.
But no, when she was doing the morning show with Beaner and Ken. Was it Beaner and Ken that she did it with? No,
it's Total Incline.
Total Incline.
Yeah.
And I remember they came up and they brought a motorcycle, and people were doing laps around the old Crest building where Jocks was. And I'll never forget when I was pulling in that morning, there was a motorcycle laid out in the street and like pine straw all over the place. And Kelly went over the top. Did you not know that?
I did not know that. Kind of worked there then.
So
she was fine, but yeah, she wiped out.
I've wiped out more than a few times.
I've seen that.
Went over the handlebars.
So you've wiped out on a 4-wheeler?
Yes,
James
3
and my mom.
times.
Have you flipped it? Or you just went over the handlebars?
Okay, 2 of them I ran into the same tree, believe it or not.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 2 separate incidences. I cracked the front of it, and then the first time I was actually with my dad, and I looked the other way.
Yeah.
And I went into a ditch, and then I went underneath. And my dad, it was that was traumatic. I was fine though. Obviously, I lived to tell the tale, but those things are dangerous.
Live to tell the tale.
The craziest thing we used to do. So I grew up on a golf course, and it was super hilly.
Yeah.
And we learned as kids, there's a governor on the golf cart, like on the gas carts, and it's under the seat. And all it really is like it's a cylinder like that, and then the throttle I don't know, but it goes through it, right? And we realized all you got to do is have an Allen wrench, and you can loosen that thing and move it all the way down, so it's completely ungoverned. And we learned how to do it. So we would go down to the cart garage, and we would get an ungoverned cart, and those things, I mean, for a golf cart, would freaking fly. And we could get them to where you could top a hill, and you could leave the ground top of the hill. Wow. Not the smartest thing in the world we ever did, but we did it. And we would fly all over the golf course in those things.
Have I told you the trash can story?
No.
Okay. So when I was little, I'd play with the neighborhood kids, and we played this game called the Polar Express. And
in Atlanta,
the game was you would get, and it wasn't like my trash can, it was the neighbor's trash can. And whoever was in it would get pushed down the driveway in the trash can. And this trash can had multiple. No, it didn't. It was just the 2.
Was it the old metal trash can?
No. It was like
Rubbermaid.
No, it was like the West Cobb sanitation trash can. Like they use this for their trash.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Like a big molded plastic.
Big, big.
All right.
But it's got wheels on the back of it.
Yeah. And so the game was you get pushed down the driveway. So one time we wanted to play Polar Express, but the people's trash can, whose it was not home, but we still thought it'd be fun to use their trash can to play Polar Express. And so they threw me in the trash can, and they pulled in, but they left me in the trash can.
Oh, no.
And I can't, it's a pretty big thing, so I can't get out of the trash can. And so I have to rock it over.
While these people have pulled in their house.
And everyone ran. I thought it was smart to run. So I knock it over. I scramble. So imagine you pull in your driveway. All these kids run. Your trash can falls over, and I crawl out of it. And I sprinted home. And my mom made hamburgers out that night, and I was not hungry because I was so nervous.
Right.
And I'll never forget this. She called the home phone. My mom didn't answer, so it came on the voicemail, and she was like, "Hi, Patty. Emily Grace, I just need to talk about something that happened tonight. Give me a call when you get a chance." And I was so scared, and my mom made me go to apologize to her.
I'm sorry, I crawled in your trash can.
Most controversial thing you did.
I know.
And I had to go to her at the bus stop, and it was horrible.
That seems like something we would have done in the 80s. You had Netflix and options.
Yeah,
Well,
you had an Xbox.
Not until I'm I'm the cutoff. My year is the cutoff.
Okay, what year were you born?
2001. So my childhood though is not electronic memories up
Yeah.
until my earliest memories.
I mean, I'll give your parents a lot of credit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there was video games already.
yeah,
There was
plenty.
there was PlayStation, but my earliest memories of an iPhone or stuff like that, or Netflix, was middle school.
When did you get your first iPhone?
My first iPhone, I was in high school.
Okay.
I had a
High school, wow.
Samsung slidey phone. Yeah, at Mount Parent.
Okay,
too.
so when did you get your first phone?
8th grade,
Okay.
and then sophomore year, I got the iPhone 5S. Thought it was so
Hey,
cool.
The old 5S.
I like it. They're a little strict, right?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
were.
yeah.
I'm thankful for it now.
Wow.
Did
they
you walk in one day in the 8th grade when you only had the slide phone and say, "Are we poor?"
Yeah, no, I mean probably.
She asked the housekeeper if they were
Yeah,
bored.
right.
Gosh, no.
And the housekeeper's like, no,
No,
hablo
habla.
inglés.
Yeah, see, yeah.
Charles, I've only got this slide phone. Are we poor?
Oh,
Then you
Samsung.
went and asked your chef.
Yeah, the dining hall.
When you were down riding the horses, the guy who does
No,
the stables.
never rode horses.
We were at Barber Motorsports.
we
Park.
owned them. We didn't ride them.
I was
we had people for that.
I was renting the Dubby. We are at Barber Motorsports Park. It is the Medical Properties Trust presents the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix, presented by AmFirst. And you can get tickets, IndyAlabama.com, IndyAlabama.com to get tickets. Stephen asked Lance, did you ever party at Overton Park in Homewood when you were in high school?
I got arrested in Overton Park.
There you go. So that's an
I did.
emphatic yes.
I did. So, we were
That should
always,
be the name of your first album, by the way.
Arrested in
in Overton Park.
the sad thing is I was hiding from the cops.
Not
Hiding
very,
in a
not,
trash
very,
can?
not very
No,
well. you
I'll
were.
tell you. So Overton Park it's interesting. So it's over kind of outside of Hollywood, Highway 31. Y'all know where the Piggly Wiggly is in Homewood?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
do,
yeah.
though. So it's kind of over in that area between that and Homewood Park. And so we were just diving around different places. Like we used to hang out at Shop a Snack on Green Springs, McDonald's. We got pushed out of everywhere. So Overton Park for a minute was our place. And we would just all park on the side, and the park goes down in, and it's between two residential streets.
Uh-huh.
So it's in a big neighborhood over there. And we would just go down into the park, and we'd sit around and drink beer. And cops came one night, and everybody, like roaches, scattered. And I went into the woods and just laid down. And I remember there were two of them walking around with flashlights, and one of them basically stepped on me.
Oh no.
And they took me to Homewood and public intox. I was like 17. But I told you, I haven't been arrested since 96.
Nice.
So what year was that? That was like 91, 92?
That was 89.
89?
90. Yeah.
How old were you then?
16, 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just, they just dropped the charges on
Oh,
you?
yeah.
Did you have to go,
That's all they would do.
you have to
yeah.
go paint the track at the football field or something like that?
A lot of times we got arrested one time on Southside. They just sat us on the curb. This was my freshman year of college. And they called up parents in the middle of the night, and like 3 or 4 different sets of parents would come up and pick up the kids.
Off
So
the
that was
curb.
most of it. Like I never had charges filed ever. It was more, we're just going to hold your kid until you can come get his ass.
A couple of my buddies got arrested in high school, and their punishment, no joke, like they, so there was a track around the football field,
Yeah.
and there was like this concrete, like a curb between the track and the fence,
Okay.
and they had to go paint that curb, that concrete curb. That was their punishment. Can you imagine that, though, in the heat of the summer?
That's
No.
miserable.
My only arrest was smashing mailboxes with baseball bats.
That's a federal
horrible.
offense, Jim.
Got arrested, and
Why? Why?
Why
not?
We were bored. We didn't have a trash can to play Polar Express.
Yeah, we did a lot of dumb things back there because there wasn't a lot of things to do. Again, should have had better structure parentally. I hate to blame the parents, but and just was kind of a girlfriend, Maddie calls me a deviant back in the day.
You were a deviant. Yeah, I've heard enough stories to know.
You went and played golf with some dude that said I took his mailbox and
Yeah.
You took a mailbox?
It ended up on somebody's porch.
my ex-wife's porch.
Your
yeah.
ex-wife's porch, yeah.
Wow.
That was when y'all were in high school and you and Bethany were dating?
Yeah, and she had
And
dated
you-
this guy before, and I forgot what was going on, but I decided to take his
Next
mailbox and put it on
steps.
there.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah, he's like,
You sent him a letter, didn't you?
I didn't say. I mean,
he sent him a message.
there were
for sure.
letters in there. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
He said, so we're playing golf, EG, and he goes, man, so I just met the guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, I love your guys' show. I actually went to high school with Lance. I was like,
Lord.
you got some
God
stories.
bless you.
Everybody I know that went to high school with Lance has got stories. He goes, oh, I got a good one. I was like, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, he was, were y'all married at the time or were you already divorced?
Oh,
I think you'd
no.
already been. No.
They
When
were
he
in
told me
high
the
school.
story.
Oh, yeah. We got.
I think he said his ex-wife, his
Yeah.
ex-wife Bethany, when they were in high school and dating, they broke up for a minute. I went on a date with her and he got pissed at me. So he got my mailbox and put it on Bethany's front porch to send the message. I know who you've been out with. I
Wow.
was like, dang.
That's creative.
Yeah, it is creative.
Could
kind
have
of
been his ring finger.
Yeah, that's true.
in retrospect, kind of stalkish.
A bit.
Yeah.
A bit.
I
Yeah.
would probably.
I remember there was another guy that she went with, and I was outside of her house.
Oh,
She's gonna be
gosh.
so pissed me telling the story. But it was on the curb of Salter Road, and so there was a lot of it was a high visible traffic area because it was like a weeknight. And this dude had dropped her off, and so I'm sitting out front waiting on him to come down, and her dad instead comes down, and he almost took me apart.
Yeah.
He was rocking the Jeep. I remember people coming by at school the next day. Man, that Bethany's dad was gonna whip your ass, and he could have.
He could have. My punishment was we had to replace the mailbox, pay for them, and put them up while the dad of the house watched us do it.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
no.
It
awesome.
was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
So you had to pay for them and then like put it down on the ground.
Yeah.
Did you have to pour the concrete and all
I had to
that?
do it
Post
all.
hole digger,
I had to
all
do it
that?
all. I had to do it all.
Paint the
Dunaway
numbers?
burned down a block one time
You
too.
did?
I was a kid. That was a mistake.
We're kids, all this stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, I had to be.
It's not like I was 31 when I knocked a mailbox down.
Yeah. My grandfather died when I was 13, so it had to be 11, maybe 10.
You just arsonist?
There was a big pasture next to his house, and I was bored.
Asked him to cut it, and he was like, "You know what? A match will
Yep.
do the
That's
job."
right. I can cut this.
Go with me
I was
here.
playing
Yes.
army with fire ants and gasoline and explosions. I was burning the fire ants like it was a war,
Right.
and I thought I'd put the little fire out.
Send a message to the ants.
Yeah. Then I went in. Then fire trucks are coming in. and
Oh, no.
The guy who owned the property said that he'd seen me playing with matches down by the fence, and I told him it was not me. And then
Anyway.
and then the fire guy, well, the guy said it was you. And my grandfather stepped between me and the fireman and said, my grandson does not lie. If he said it was not him.
God,
Talk
if he
about crying.
if he knew you
wow.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I've been my-
And that's when they left and I went in my little play area in the basement. And I was crying
Sobbing.
and I had to go tell him. I was like, it was me.
So then did you have to go tell the property
I had to
owner?
go all the way up that burnt hill.
Smells
Jim
awful.
Dunaway,
Hey,
arsonist.
Honestly, it was from here to where those tents are, up a hill, and the house was on the hill. And the fireman got there enough to keep it from making it up to the up to
What
the.
if you burned someone's house down?
Oh, it would have been horrible. And I had to, but the whole thing was black all summer long.
man.
It was
Oh,
like
man.
the Scarlet A all summer long. I was like,
So was
staring at
was it like drought conditions are so dry that the fire just spread real quick?
They had some cows that couldn't feed in that area. They would feed in the other.
What
Yeah.
kind of noise does a cow make when it burns?
Nothing on my grill.
Order up.
Troy says, Lance, next time use a horse's head.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would have been a little extreme.
Do you like that scene?
I don't.
I think for when it was done, the time, because I think it was kind of based on something like that really happened.
Yeah. The only thing about that scene, like I get it. I understand, what's going on there, is like cutting the horse's head off like that good and being able to get it in the house and in the bed without the guy waking up is pretty unrealistic. to me.
Yeah, a lot of Hollywood producers, though, probably on a million different, sleeping
Drugs.
aids.
Yeah.
And they spoofed that in Animal House too, right?
Well, no, the horse dies, so they
Yeah.
just have to cut it in half.
Okay.
Yeah, this was more.
This was
That's
that was his prized possession was the horse.
Yeah.
And he basically said, your prized possession isn't safe if you don't work with us.
And if
Yeah.
we can get your horse's head
Yep.
in the bed,
Guess
we
what?
can do whatever we want.
Yeah, guess what?
Yep.
He was
Yeah.
ready to play ball
Have
after
you
that,
ever
right?
seen The Godfather?
I've No, not fully.
But you knew
But I
exactly
know-
what we were talking
know
about.
Exactly.
But you don't like violence, right?
Well, I don't mind violence. I don't like anything to do with animals. I don't like sports movies, and I don't like anything overly like torture scenes. I can't do.
Okay, well, The
torture.
Godfather has none of that. I mean, you've seen the worst animal scene in The Godfather. It's the
Yeah.
horse's head. Other
Yeah.
than that, there is no sports whatsoever.
And I like that era, like mob.
I think you would like The
Mafia.
Godfather. It's just that when that movie was made,
So good.
no, it is very, very good. I love The Godfather. But the movies were made different back then. Like Dunaway's always pointed out, back then they would show the passing of time. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
The dancing at the
yeah,
reception,
Yeah.
there'd be
Yeah.
people dancing. It's just a sequence, and you're like,
yeah. It's like,
Right.
okay, I get it. They're dancing
Yeah.
at the reception. But, back then you would show that for 5 minutes. And
Yeah.
that was just kind of setting the scene.
Well,
Yeah.
that was a flex on Francis Ford Coppola. Not to get like film nerd with you, but that opening scene was like massive, and he did that one sequence for a reason. But if you don't like torture, here's some movies to stay away from.
Okay.
Maybe we can-
Lance
maybe
has
we-
got an extensive catalog.
Hostel.
I've never seen Hostel, but so one would be Casino. They put a guy's head in the vice and
Yep.
twist it till his eye pops out.
Oh,
That's based on a true
that's
story.
horrible.
Girl with a Dragon Tattoo.
Oh, I've heard that one's bad.
Yeah,
In the book.
that one's bad. Another torture scene that would be bad.
I mean, Goodfellas is not great.
I
I mean, they don't show a ton of torture, but the unsaid about, burying the guy going to eat the plate of Italian and they have to dig him back up.
Ugh.
Yeah, and they did beat the guy within an inch of his life at the
I
Tampa
don't
Zoo
like
and
that
hung
one.
him
I
down.
don't like
Yep.
that stuff.
Yeah.
I like.
At the end of Casino, they beat the two brothers with baseball bats.
Yep.
I don't
And
like
bury
that.
them together alive.
I don't like
Yep.
that.
Hostel's the worst.
I
Rich people wanting to, one wanted to bathe the
okay.
human
I don't
blood.
need to hear it. I don't need to hear it. Ew. But all that to say, like spy movies, I love. So like spy violence, I don't mind.
Have you seen Bridge of Spies?
No.
Tom Hanks. You didn't like it, did you? Mark Rylance and Tom Hanks.
I thought it was okay.
Like
Yeah. Mark Rylance was really good at it. though.
Syriana, do you like George Clooney?
Yeah.
Really good movie.
What's
They
the
they
one-
they get him and they pull out every fingernail with pliers.
Vomit.
He won Best Supporting
Oh,
Actor for
I'll
it.
give you a
That made me cringe.
Lance. You may have seen this. It's an old Melanie Griffith, Michael Douglas movie, Shining Through.
I never saw it. It was like World War II. based.
World War
Yeah.
II, and it's got a little spy element in it. EG. That's an older movie. I think you might like
Like-
that.
John Wick, I don't mind. I like John Wick.
Yeah, in Shining Through. There's no violence. Well, it's an old movie though.
I think you would like a series called Slow Horses. It's the British. What's the British version of the CIA, FBI?
Burn Notice. We've all
Oh,
seen Burn Notice.
M6.
You know-
M6, M8, whatever it is.
I didn't hate Burn Notice at the start, but it's
It
something
drug-
about it started to get on my nerves. I just couldn't watch. I tell you what it was is the main actor, and I cannot say his
Michael
name.
Weston.
Yeah, he always talked like he always talked smiling. And he would always talk like
Does that
that.
want anybody to see his tongue?
That's my
I guess
favorite.
so. I don't know.
That's my favorite series of all time.
Really?
Did you ever watch that, Lance? Burn
No.
Notice. There was a bit actor in there. He played Sam, and I'm not going to be able to say his
Oh, I
name.
love him. I love.
God, I
Sam.
cannot say his name. But
Give
he's
me
in
something else he's been in.
hang on, I'll pull up his name.
Jesse B.
mm,
So good.
Lance, he's been in. You've seen him in.
Yeah.
When I say his name, Burn Notice
I like
cast.
know that whole intro. When you're burned, you got nothing. No cash, no credits, no job history.
Yeah. Bruce Campbell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You've seen Bruce Campbell, bit actor.
Yeah.
He's in there.
So Evil Dead, Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
That Bruce Campbell.
Yeah. He's good. I mean, he's a pretty good actor. He's a bit actor, but I've always liked his parts.
He's got a cult following based on those movies.
Yeah. All right. So a couple of votes from Nostalgia of Fury. He says, "I spit on your grave" is a no-go.
Yeah.
And then Brock says the original "I spit on your grave" was badass.
I just remember this. My mom and one of her friends, and they had me watch I Spit on Your Grave when I was like, I want to say like 3 or 4. It was bad. So
Oh,
basically, chick gets brutally raped, and then
Oh.
she goes,
Oh, yeah.
and then she goes back and like,
She tries to
mean-
exact revenge.
well, she does.
oh,
Oh, does
good
she?
for her.
Yeah.
Who's in that? Anybody good?
No, it was like a B movie way back in the day. Again, I don't
Yeah.
know why the hell I watched it, but
Jody says the scene in Hateful Eight where Sam Jackson is telling Bruce Dern what he did to his son is pure torture.
well, I guess it was torture because he made him walk naked in God, what was that film? Wyoming. Anyway, it was like, minus 20 degrees,
Oh.
and then what he made him do at the end. It's a good movie though. You wouldn't like it.
Yeah, no. Okay, here's an update about the 10-hour game. My dad
wait a
was
minute.
there.
What? Oh, your dad was at the Rick
Yeah,
Camp home run
he
game? Did he
said-
stay the whole time?
He said, yeah, but we left at like 1 a.m. It was all of us plus my college
Gave up too
girlfriends.
early.
Yeah.
His college girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder where she is now.
Not
Hey,
not
that
doing
was
as well
that
as
was
Patty.
plural, Dunaway.
Yeah. Girlfriend.
Mark went. Yeah, he went plural on us.
The awesome thing would have, well, no. But he did not marry. So he was not dating your mom in college.
No, they met when they were 18
Yeah.
in biology class
Really?
at Georgia Southern. Yep. He was the cutie little basketball player that all the girls loved.
Oh, look at that.
And they were partners. And my mom like walked in late.
Did
and
she
that
do all the
was-
work?
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was the only seat there, like left was next to him. And they had to do like the genetic project. And they're like, you're going to have tall, brown-eyed, brown-haired, tan babies. And they did. But it
Did
took.
you ever help anybody like that? Like I would always gravitate towards a girl where it was geology or biology when you had the lab and you had to have a lab partner.
Would people gravitate towards me or would I gravitate towards people?
So you went for the good-looking girls and not the smart ones?
No, the smart one.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
The smart ones. Yeah.
Like I was just.
I didn't want the head
I-
cheerleader.
No.
Yeah.
It was the smart ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just show them all the attention in the world.
Yep.
I did the same thing. I played my cards right with my biology partners.
The best one I ever had
I
was
wasn't a good student. I'll tell you that.
the best one I ever had. I had a physics class. So for a minute, EG, I thought I wanted to be an engineer.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
God,
It's a
that's horrible.
it was a terrible decision on my part. But in the
You're pretty
process
good
of that,
at setting up this equipment.
in the
though.
process, no, not that kind of engineer. In the process of that, I had to take a physics class, which you want to talk about fish out of water. That was me in a physics
Would
class.
it be like me giving you like a Korean book right now?
Yep. I would have just as good as just as easy a chance to get through that. So there was me and another guy I went to high school with, and he got his hands on the previous year's tests.
Oh, that's so awesome.
And the professor had not changed a single question.
Wow.
So we would, like, a couple nights before every test, we just memorize the test. That's the only way I got through. I had no clue what I was doing.
Yeah. Math and science, not my jam, but like English and history, all day. Loved writing papers. I wrote Mikey's papers in college.
Hated
He
English.
did my math homework.
I liked history. I hated English.
Yeah, I said I was going to do a memoir called $60 C's because we used to pay $60. And these papers that I would get, we never met the girl, but we would go to like the shed. I don't know how old she was. She could have been 70, 80 years old. And you would drop off what the assignment was. And then like 3 days later, you would pick it up. You'd leave the money in the envelope
No
and you get your
way.
paper. Yeah, but every paper was like a C. And I'm like,
It's not worth
she's
it.
really, I mean, you got to get this going. Now, C was good enough for me because I wasn't like looking
Yeah.
for the end all be all great GPA. I just wanted to.
And I think she probably knew that about
maintain
the people that would
eligibility.
pay her to do a paper, right? That they were happy with the C. The crazy thing is she didn't get caught because I have to imagine she recycled a lot of her stuff.
Yeah, but I would think back then.
Or maybe
there was-
she didn't get caught, but one of the students didn't get caught.
Like, is it easier to cheat now or is it more difficult?
It's more difficult, but what the sad thing is, I don't think people care as much anymore.
Well,
Because it's so
Because you have to take
accessible.
everything home. Everything's online and like
Right.
AI and
yeah, but I
It's
would
so
say
messed up.
it's more difficult because if you just Google a phrase in a term paper, it's immediately going to pop up. So you can easily get busted for plagiarizing.
For papers, I think it's probably harder, but for any tests that you're given, like college for me was so much easier than high school.
Well, especially
that's-
it was if Mikey was doing your math.
Well, yeah, it was one class,
Yeah.
but like holistically, and you're like on your major and things like that, so it's interesting. But like everything has a Quizlet.
But you know what's wild is like, so my oldest obviously is just finishing her second semester in college, and she'll take a test and immediately get the grade.
Yeah, that's how we were. It was you turn around.
like
they still get it in high school.
I know, but I mean, like I can remember taking a test and I had to have like a 78 to pass the class or whatever,
and
or
you're
88.
anxious.
And you're panicked for like 5 days, and the professor, you know what he was not doing? He was not in any hurry to grade that paper, and you were just panicked that you weren't going to make that 78.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
they'd post them.
Oh, yeah, and you had to go
look at them.
Hey, you want to talk about a tough walk when you know you need like an 88 to pass the class, and you're walking up to that
That's-
sheet of paper.
I cannot imagine.
And everyone else is there too looking.
Yeah,
and
pit
they're
in your
like,
stomach.
Hey, I saw yours, dude. Sorry.
I don't know. I think that like my core classes I had to take, everything was pretty standard, like from year to year. So there were kids that like got by because you can just literally, there's an app, it's called Socratic. You can scan your computer and it'll populate all the answers right away. You're not even having to search anything like by hand anymore.
Wow,
I
we used
know.
to have this thing called Cliff Notes.
Yep.
Oh, so
And-
we
and-
had Spark Notes.
But so like, you know, we're supposed to read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Just go grab the Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
But did you have that professor that's like, if you try to get by on Cliff Notes, I know how to catch you?
Yes,
Did you ever have
yeah,
that professor?
we
I
had
always put
that.
them to a test just to see on
But
that
you know,
first
back in
one.
the, like our references back in the day, believe it or not, there was no internet, so we had like hard like encyclopedias. So I do a paper on Alexander the Great, just throwing out a historic figure, and like I would just go through and just reword everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, just move a few paragraphs around. That's not plagiarizing.
Yeah, right.
I moved them around.
And prove it.
I know.
It's interesting though.
I had the Encyclopedia Britannica right there on my shelves.
Wow.
Yep.
I do like not to, get depressing on us, but like it is kind of scary to me that like our lawyers, doctors, engineers, like
airline pilots.
it's not what it used to be in terms of studying and knowledge. That's just
Well, at least
I
at least the athletes are studying
right,
and getting their
right,
degrees now.
right. And as a PR major, I can't say much, but it is interesting.
All right, a couple of quick sports things. I'll save the sports things for the end. We are at Barber Motorsports Park. It is IndyAlabama.com for tickets to the race this weekend. IndyAlabama.com. Make sure you get them now so you got a good parking spot. I mean, it's obviously huge out here, but you're going to want a parking spot. IndyAlabama.com. Earlier, I've lost the name. They wanted your opinion on John Rothstein's tweet. His sources say that the Kansas commit, LeBaron Feline, is a strong lean to Alabama right now.
Yeah, that's the guy that everyone was saying when I mentioned it. Taylor and I talked about him possibly being an Auburn, one-time Auburn commit, another perimeter guy.
Yeah, I mean,
And if he's
committed to Auburn, then Kansas, Alabama, Cincinnati. I think Texas Tech were all in the mix.
Yeah, it was
so-
Brandon that asked the question. Yeah.
So if Rothstein is saying it, Rothstein is spot on and is really good friends with Nate and the guys.
Oh, and all the coaches, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that is probably pretty good info there. Rothstein's pretty dependable.
So I asked this question on that. Watch that water. I'll ask. You were spilling it out of the cap somehow. I would say that at some point with another perimeter guy here, because he's a perimeter guy too, right? Do you start to worry that Mark Sears isn't coming out of the draft?
I mean, I guess you got to prepare for that, right?
Well, I mean,
you've only got so many
you
spots.
just brought in Holloway.
Yep.
You got the kid from Pepperdine. You got he's a shooting forward from South Florida. I mean, at some point, you bring
Wright sells back.
Wrightsel's back. You're bringing in this kid from Kansas. I mean, at some point, do you start saying to yourself, I wonder if they know Mark Sears is not coming back or something?
Chandra asked, when do you think Kool-Aid will get picked and where could he go?
So Buffalo, I assume, is going to take A.D. Mitchell.
Boy, they traded down twice out of the first round.
Yeah, I think that they felt like they could get a receiver at the top.
And Stephon Diggs is gone now, so they need that, right?
Yeah, they need that. And I think Josh Allen is probably on the phone with the front office saying, get me somebody. And I think A.D. Mitchell, like talking to Chip Brown, he believes A.D. will be better than Xavier Worthy at the next level.
Wow, how about that?
I don't know. I wanted to ask you guys about NFL because I saw this earlier. What have I been asking for since we've been doing a show?
Oh, I saw this. You wanted a Super Bowl on President's Day weekend so that Monday's a holiday.
Oh, is that happening?
Roger Goodell said we're talking about it, so I think it will happen.
Well, they're talking about EG going to an 18-game schedule and eliminating just doing 2 preseason games and an 18-game schedule, which they'll do this because there's too much money to be made not to. They got to get the players union on board, obviously, to do that. But he even, I think, if I read this right, Lance, discussed actually playing it on President's Day, on that Monday.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that is 100% the idea, but I think he discussed it as a possibility.
It's no longer Super Bowl Sunday.
I know. I can't imagine.
Yeah,
right. I know.
What is the purpose?
Yeah, I mean, obviously one is a holiday, but most people are off work on Sunday too.
But yeah,
I would never move off that Sunday if I were there.
And let's go on as a team and make this agreement.
Right.
We will do like a hour or 2 hour Super Bowl recap, but we're going to be like the rest of America and take.
We're going to take President's Day.
Super Bowl.
So you'd rather do a show right after the Super Bowl rather than work the next day?
I'm talking the next day. Just do a abbreviated show just on the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
From our houses?
A little bit later. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just work from the house.
Yeah.
Or we could do 3 hours right after the Super Bowl and then
call it
all sleep in.
I think that's what Lance's trying to avoid, though.
So then you can
it's right after
keep
the Super
night
Bowl.
going.
I mean, we can. Super Bowl gets over late,
but they are. I mean,
usually 9 o'clock Central nowadays, right? 9:30.
They have crept towards that day more and more, and I really thought the way they were going to do it is add a second bye. I thought they were going to give everybody a second bye, but adding the 18th game, that's great with me. I mean, it's just more regular season football, right?
Yeah, they're going to allow people this year to wear protective helmets, like the what is it called? You know what I'm talking about, where you see them a lot in spring practice.
Oh, like those cushiony things?
Yeah.
Are they really?
Yep.
In the game?
In the game.
I did not know that.
That's
top
gonna
of
get-
the helmet.
That's going to get passed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
I don't know how many guys will do it.
I'd rather have the shell. Who was the Buffalo Bill that did it first?
Oh, Steve Tasker, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or was it or was it BB? Was it Steve Tasker or Don BB?
I
that
think
had
it was Tasker.
They've come
Yeah.
a long way. I don't.
He had
think- I
that
don't-
second helmet.
I don't, think,
Yeah.
I don't think you need that padding. I think you still could get the hard shell.
Then I think it got passed today.
So,
Wow.
but you will not see the logo then because those cover the logo.
Or would they have logos
Oh,
on
I think
the
they'll probably fix it.
Put-
where they-
yeah, put a logo on the
so they
side.
wouldn't be as noticeable either,
Yeah.
I guess.
That's
Well,
interesting.
you know, really, they said that back in the day. They were, because there was a time helmets were used as weapons, and they were like, you're protecting the head on the inside. Why is the outside hard? Why do you not pad the outside to not hurt people?
Yeah.
And they talked about the way it looks on television, the shell, and the way you're able to put logos on it and stuff. That if it was spongy, it wouldn't look as
Yeah,
good on
no,
TV.
there's no
No, it
way.
doesn't.
It would look horrible compared to what they have now.
I'm trying to find that story before we get out of here. They say that is called the Guardian helmet. That's what that is
Yeah.
called.
Guardian helmet.
That's what it is.
The Guardian helmet. I was going to see if I could find that Goodell story that I saw, though.
That actually came across my ticker a little bit earlier.
What, the NFL story?
Yeah, the Guardian. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was talking about the big game in Atlanta tonight, Guardians and Braves. But now I know what the
know.
Guardian helmet is.
Guardian helmet. Not a
Landmine
giveaway.
Believer says Tim Watts, BOL says Mark Sears expected back too, and that those two are disconnected. Those two players are not connected at all. So there you go.
Well, I mean, my question is, so now so it's another perimeter player.
Well, you got to be out of scholarships by now, right?
Then I
It's getting
think,
close.
I think that fills it up. So that means somebody else has to leave,
Ugh,
which,
roster.
which is okay.
Well, is the big from Rutgers not in this weekend?
He's coming in this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that means somebody else has to leave because I think that finished it up. Nick Kelly had a running one going, and I thought when Holloway came, that left one open. But let me know. I mean, who else? How many scholarship players is that? Who can you ship off? And at some point, have you addressed any of the problem you had last year on getting a big guy?
I don't know, but roster management right now, I would not want anything to do with.
Now do football.
I know. So, I mean,
Yeah.
but this is
Oh,
the
it's
last
impossible in
year.
football.
It's more complicated with
Yeah,
football.
no doubt.
This is the last year of COVID specialty years, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. This
So
will
it'll-
finally be done with that. Yep. So all right, here's what Goodell said, and he said this on McAfee: 2 preseason games, 18 regular season games, Super Bowl Sunday on the 3-day weekend.
That'd be nice.
So
Let's do it.
if you did that, I'm all about it.
I'm
man.
all
18 games would excite me. Now you got even home and away too. That's one
Well,
thing.
And they're just starting to do the money. I mean, what is one more weekend in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean it's a ton of money, is what it is.
I mean, it could be $1 billion.
Well,
Right?
at some point though, you're going to hit the players' union. I mean, they're not going to keep giving. But I think the way you feed the players' union is you take away the preseason games. They've never liked those.
Yeah.
So, and those have always been money makers for the owners, and that's what the owners are giving up here. I'm all for it, man. More
Yeah.
football. Give me more football. All right, that's going to do it from out at Barber Motorsports Park. Please give us a thumbs up. And if you are watching us on YouTube and haven't subscribed, you could do that. Subscribe, set your alerts so you know when we're live for our daily show 9 to noon, or shows just like this that pop up out of nowhere. On social media, you can always follow us at Next Round Live, on social media. The racing is this weekend, and you can see everything at IndyAlabama.com, IndyAlabama.com. That's where you can get your tickets and reserve your spot here at Barber Motorsports Park for the Medical Properties Trust. Presents the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix, powered by AmFirst. IndyAlabama.com for all of that. For Lance Taylor, EG, Jim Dunaway, I'm Ryan Brown. Have a nice weekend. We'll see you Monday morning, 9 o'clock.